What's up, everybody? We are here at Mount Philo State Park. We filmed a Q&A video here about a year ago, but we haven't really been back since, at least not with the camera. Today, I'm not going to be the one doing the storytelling. Flossie here, who you all know and appreciate very much, he's going to finally share his craziest bear encounter story from his Appalachian Trail through hike. To start off, Flossie, I'm curious about your experience when you would tell people that you're going to hike the AT. Like, what was like some of the first things that they would say, like when you would tell them, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go do this like wilderness like through hike adventure"?
I guess the first thing, or a lot of times, people would wonder what I was doing for food. Like, if I was going to scavenge for food. Apparently they think, like...
I've got a lot too.
And one time I actually went along with it. I was like, yeah, you gotta go out there and scavenge, like, squirrels, deer, anything you can get. It's like, no.
That's one thing people always wonder about. You get the questions about, like, the gear and the things like that. But, and I think another big one, too, and this kind of gets, slowly starting to get into the story here. I think one thing that people would say to me a lot is like, "Oh, are you going to take a gun?"
Yeah, how are you going to protect yourself?
How are you going to protect yourself?
Bears.
Next to the food, perhaps one of the biggest things that people wonder about is the bear thing. And my response to that is always like, "Oh, like you don't got to worry about bears. Like, yeah, of course you might see them sometimes, but they're really not out there to hurt people. It's extremely rare to have any crazy stories with bears." And for most people, that's true. It's just kind of funny for him, though, because he actually did have a pretty gnarly bear story. Let me ask, before you went on the AT, how, like, aware of the bear situation were you? Like, were you worried about bears at all? Like, did you think about them much, or were you just so busy thinking about other things you never really thought about it?
I was worried a little bit. Like, it was always in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, I did research and, like videos of people telling you what you should do, which come to find out, you don't really find out what to do until you're in the situation, and then, you could do things right or you could do things wrong. And like I said, I saw 13, so by the time the end of the AT came, I knew what to do right. Mm-hmm. But in this instance, this was the first time I've come across a bear, and I didn't do the right thing.
What section of Virginia were you in? And this was before we met each other, everybody. But I think it was Southern Virginia somewhere?
Yeah, it was like...
It must have been, because we didn't meet each other until like mid to Northern Virginia.
The night before this all went down, I stayed at Lynn Creek Campground.
That sounds like the most Virginia campsite name ever.
So we stay at Lynn Creek. And then I wake up.
Oh, I've heard the story before. It's coming back to me.
I wake up the next morning, just normal day. I'm like, I kind of want to see a bear, just to see, what the hype's all about. I'm the first one to leave the campsite, which is rare. But for some reason that day I was the first one to leave, and I was just chugging along up this mountain. And then I come to like this clearing, and like I didn't even hear the bear, but I just see it, like, booked it, like, ran. That was the first bear I saw, and I was like, all right. Like, I'm liking that. It just ran from me, and...
a little bit of a confidence boost,
it was.
eh?
It was like, I just scared away a black bear. That's kind of the consensus. Like, most of the time, they're going to run from you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So which is still true, despite what we're about to hear.
Yeah, so later that day, it was afternoon, I was at a gap. I was just getting water, and I was waiting for Rufio and Captain. Because, when you're out on the AT and you're in bear territory, it's probably best to try and find some people to, like, stay with. Mm-hmm. Or unless you're into that thing, you like the fear and, like, you like, do. Yeah, I mean, you like to camp alone. Some people like to camp alone, but that's not me. So, yeah, I was waiting for them, and I was waiting for about an hour, and they didn't show up. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep chugging on, because I don't know if they stopped early or what. So it's getting later. It's probably like 5 o'clock, and I come to this dirt road, and there's a sign for the Garden Mountain Hostel. You call the hostel, and they'll come pick you up. Yeah, it's 5 miles down a dirt road to this hostel that you can stay at. And there was a guy there who had already called the shuttle, and he's like, hey, I'm headed to this hostel, and if you want to tag along, you can, or whatever. You know, like we'll split the cost. And I was like, I think I'm gonna keep going for tonight. So I don't know. It was kind of tempting, but I don't know. I just wanted to keep going, just kind of stay on trail. I go 1 more mile, and then there's another sign for Davis Farm Campsite. At this time, it's 5:30. I'm getting hungry, and I'm like looking for a place to stay, and I don't know. Something told me to go down there. And if you plan to through hike the AT at any point, you're in Virginia and you come across Davis Farm Campsite, I don't suggest staying there because it's like it's a 0.5 straight down like the mountain. It switchbacks the whole way.
Oh jeez.
So like once I got halfway, I was like, man, I shouldn't have come down here. Like I felt something was up.
So you felt like something just was kind of off before you even like.
Yeah, it was like
as soon as you got down there.
It was like, man, what was going through my head was, I'm hoping people are down here because I do not want to stay like by myself.
So you just felt like something was up.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to camp by myself, and like I didn't know the situation. Like I didn't know what was coming up. I get down to Davis Farm Campsite, and nobody's there. So I'm like, that's a bummer. And definitely not, but it was beautiful. Like the sun was starting to go down. I had like this really nice view of this farm. It honestly was real peaceful. I was like, something told me, usually we would set our tent up and then we'd eat and go to sleep. And I was like, I'm going to eat first because I'm just going to feel this out. Maybe somebody will come. Like,
so you were still a little bit hesitant on committing to staying there, huh?
I was. I just like, something felt, I don't know, something was up for some reason. So I make dinner, and I'm just looking out at this farm, just enjoying myself, and then I finish, and I hear a crack behind me, and then I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that's not a person, You'd hear a person coming.
Yeah.
And it was just a snap, so I got up, and boom, there was the mama bear. And it just... I think I should have just moved slower than I did. I should have taken a second to process what was going on, because I don't think she noticed me at first.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think she smelt the food, and like was wondering like where it was at. I think I should have just taken a second, taken some deep breaths. But first thing I did was grab my trekking poles over my head and just smacking them together, like as hard as I could. And
were there cubs too?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, there were two.
The classic mama bear and cub scenario you don't want to find yourself in.
Yeah, this is, honestly, it's not really a situation that you want to be in by yourself. You watch some videos and they'll tell you different things, but the thing that stuck with me is make yourself look big.
Make noise.
Make a lot of noise, and but I think I should have taken into account the cubs, because a mother is going to do whatever she can to protect her cubs, like no matter what you're doing, If it was just a single bear and you were, she might have ran, but she went right into defense mode. So her cubs, like, I can hear them, like, up the tree, and, like, they're crying, They make, like, a weird, it's like a crying noise. And she goes right into defense mode. And she's like, snorting and, like, scraping the ground.
Oh, my God, that's so sketchy.
Yeah, and I'm like... And at that point, when she started doing that, I was like, my heart was...
How close, like, were you to the mama bear?
At that point, she was probably, like, 40 yards away.
Okay.
She was, like, 40 yards, like...
So not, like, right on top of each other, but close enough. Obviously, you can hear the snorting. Like, you can clearly see and tell that she's, like, getting ready for shit to go down.
So she goes right into defense mode. And at that point, the first thing that ran through my head, I was like, this could be it for me. Like, I really thought, like... those things run through your head. Like, and I noticed she was standing her ground. Like, she was not going to move, no matter how much noise I made. And this is all happening, like, so quick.
Yeah.
Like, so I ducked down, and, like, my pot and everything's still out. And I knew I was going to, like, leave the area for a little bit, let things cool down. And so I just snagged my backpack real quick, and I just ran down the Blue Blaze to the water. Mm-hmm. But I left, like, my pot, and because I was like, I'll just buy it. Like, if she gets into that, I'll just buy a new one. But I didn't want her to, like, you see these videos of bears. They'll sometimes, like, get somebody's backpack, like, and just tear everything up. And that's your life on the AT, you know.
Yeah, you got to have that stuff.
Yeah, so that was like, I just grabbed my backpack and just sort of took off. And
And the trail you ran down, was that a dead end trail?
exactly, that was, yeah, that's one thing you should know, is that there was only one way in and one way out of this campsite. And yes, it was a dead end at the stream. Like, it was just like thorn bushes
Yeah,
and thickets and everything. So I'm like collecting myself for like 10 minutes. I didn't mention this on your podcast, but I mean, I gave my mom a call because I had some service. It's probably, sorry, Mom.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she loved getting that call.
Sorry, Mom, but dude, I didn't know. Like, you're
Yeah.
thinking, you know, this could be it for me. Like, I at least want to like call my
Oh
mom.
my
and, like,
god, that's crazy.
So I call her. Luckily, I had service, and I was trying to like figure out a plan. I was like, you know, it's like at this time it's like 7:30. It's starting to get dark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know what to do, Mom. Like, I'm not gonna stay here. So I hang up with her, and I just take some deep breaths, kind of wander back, gather everything up real nice and slow, get everything buckled up. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get out of this campsite. And before I left, I wanted to make some more noise. Because I didn't want, it's only one way out, and I
Yeah.
didn't just want to run.
So you had to go back by where the bear was in order to
Exactly.
get out. Okay.
Exactly. I hit my poles together again, right off. This time, like I didn't see her for a second, and then she's 20 yards away from me.
Oh jeez.
Like, and she's real close. She's not on the trail. She's real close to the trail. And so I hit my poles, she's snorting again. I'm face to face with her, like 20 yards away, and I'm like, and so I hit my poles again for, you know, like that's the only thing I could think
so
of.
Crazy.
And then, boom, she bluff charges right then. And I'm like, yep, I'm out of here.
So you just took off and ran, huh?
Yeah, I ran. You're not supposed to run,
That's
but
like the first thing they tell you is like, don't ever
there was
run.
nothing else I thought that I could do. Like,
Well, it's like I could see how the instinct just kicks in, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Fuck it." So you just okay. So when she charged at you, like maybe you don't even know because you turned around, but how like close like do you think she got? Like,
Wasn't
did she
like-
really just like kind of come at you like
It was
for a couple
more-
strides or?
No, it was just like she was 20 yards away, and then, you know, they go
Ugh.
like that. And I
Ugh.
was like, I'm not sticking around.
Yeah.
So I didn't even see, like, if she was.
So you
I
just-
just fucking ran. Like, honestly. I just fucking ran.
That's
I
like
was
exactly what you're not supposed to do.
I know, but, like,
Oh my god.
it was getting dark. I was like, I'm not going to be stuck here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, I'm not knocking you for
Yeah,
it.
no,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying
yeah.
it's just like funny how it's funny now
Yeah.
how it worked out, I guess.
I run down the blue blaze, and there's all the thorn bushes and thicket, and it was like swampy too. I was just like, screw it, and I just went through all the thicket. It was
So you're
literally-
off trail at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm off trail bushwhacking. I'm trying to make it to the farm that I could see
Yeah.
from the.
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to make it because that you had to get through all that thicket to get to the farm I could see from the tent site.
So at least you kind of had an objective of where you were running at this point.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were just in the middle
No.
of the woods. Like you could see that there was a building or something out in the
I
distance.
I could sort of see the farm, but all
Oh,
the grass was up over my head and the thickets. It's really dry and hot, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna like get Lyme's disease too, cause like
You're just going through the brush and
yeah, I'm
stuff.
like I'm gonna get Lyme's disease from like going through this. Like I'm gonna have ticks all over me. Like that was my thought at that point.
Mhm.
It was some of the worst pain. Like there are so many thorn bushes. Like I'm getting pricked all over the place going through there. I probably bushwhacked for about half a mile. And I finally make it to the farm. Like, this was my plan. I'm going to find a house. I'm going to figure out the address. I'm going to use my phone and call the hostel that I talked about earlier.
Mhm.
So they could come and pick me up wherever I was at. I find a hill, and I see a house. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go over there. So I start walking along, and then I see some people, like, emerge from the house.
It's kind of sketchy, honestly.
Yeah, at one point I'm like, thank God, like, I see somebody. And then on the other end, it's like, I'm like a dirty hiker just walking on like someone's property.
Yeah.
And they're yelling at me, and I couldn't hear what they were saying. I'm like, I just escaped from this. I'm about to get Lyme's disease.
You're about to
Now
get
I'm gonna
shot,
get shot. Like, I'm literally
Trespassing on someone's farm or whatever.
They're gonna grab their 30-30 and just start blasting at me. Anyways, I get to the house, and like this woman greets me. I tell my story and like what I just went through, and they could see like I was all cut up, like bleeding and stuff and sweating. And I was like, what is the address to this place? I was like, I need to call the hostel so like they can come and pick me up. Like I explained my whole situation. And then the woman was like, "This is the hostel."
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, she was like,
man.
yeah, she was.
Wait,
like,
so you just happened to end up at the hostel?
I ended up at the hostel.
Like, just by chance?
Yeah, just completely by chance.
Man, what are the
It
odds
was-
of that? That's crazy.
I know, because like if you were to take the dirt road, it was 5 miles, but I just straight lined it
Cut
through
out the
like
middle, man.
yeah, and
Christ.
it was like a mile, like literally a mile to the hostel.
Mhm.
And I was when she like said it was the hostel, I just relief. I was like,
So you literally had no clue that that was the hostel until you got
no,
there?
I had no idea.
Like, not even like an inkling of
No.
like, okay, I know it's in this general direction. Like,
I had-
not a clue.
no, I had
and you
no
just
i-
happened to end up there.
Yeah, like the first place I see on the hill.
See,
It was crazy.
It's crazy because it's like, in a situation where you needed that the most, like, you just happened to end up,
Yeah.
like, there.
I
like,
know,
in the
it's-
exact right spot, like, where you
Yeah.
needed to be to get out of that
Where
situation.
where I should have been at the dirt road
Yeah.
earlier, like
Where
yeah,
you-
I'll hitch a ride with you. Like,
yeah,
you know.
when you turn that ride down, shit.
A good thing that I learned is later in Virginia, I ran into a mama bear and cubs again. They were really close this time. We slowly backed up, and we just like talked to her like we're talking right
Yep.
now. Just slowly backed up, gave her space. She was not threatening at all. And after like 10 minutes, she just wandered off with her cubs. From that point on, I found out that it's best if you just back up really slow if you see a bear and just kind of talk to it. It all depends on the situation, really, that you're in. In that situation, like, I probably shouldn't have ran, but it was the only thing that I thought of
Yeah.
that I could do to get out and, you know,
I highly doubt you even thought.
no, I didn't.
You
Your
just-
instincts
yeah,
just like,
you just went. Comment your bear stories, everybody. Flossie, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
This has been a story I've wanted to get out on the channel for a while, so thank you for sharing. Christ, dude. Fucking A. Don't try this at home, kids. Or adults, for that matter.